For decades, many Australians believed the men who opened up the nation's vast interior were explorers, miners, and stockmen. But hidden behind some of Australia's greatest achievements was a group of immigrants who rarely appeared in history books. They came from Afghanistan, India, and modern-day Pakistan, spoke unfamiliar languages, followed different faiths, and travelled with thousands of camels. Without them, much of inland Australia may have remained isolated for decades longer. In the late 19th century, Australia's interior was one of the harshest places on Earth. Endless deserts stretched beyond the horizon. Temperatures soared above 40 degrees. Water was scarce, tracks were rough, and horses often collapsed under the brutal conditions. As explorers, surveyors, and governments pushed deeper inland, they faced a simple problem. How do you transport supplies across hundreds of kilometers of desert? The answer arrived in 1860 when the first camels were imported to support the ill-fated Burke and Wills expedition. Soon afterwards, skilled cameleers began arriving from across Central and South Asia, bringing knowledge that would transform inland Australia. The cameleers quickly proved something that many Australians had overlooked. Camels could survive where horses and bullocks could not. By the 1880s, camel trains had become a common sight across the Outback. Long lines of animals stretched across red dunes beneath shimmering heat. Their bells echoed through silent landscapes as they carried food, water, timber, mining equipment, and mail into remote settlements. One of the most famous cameleers was Beecher Dervish, who joined the 1891 expedition led by surveyor William Christie Goss. The cameleers became essential to some of Australia's greatest infrastructure projects. They transported supplies for the construction of the Overland Telegraph Line, which connected Australia to the world in the 1870s. They supported remote mining operations and carried materials into regions where no roads existed. Yet despite their importance, life was not easy. Many faced discrimination and exclusion. They often lived in settlements on the edge of towns known as Afghan towns. Although most people called them Afghans, many actually came from British India, Baluchistan, and present-day Pakistan. Their customs seemed strange to many Australians at the time. The sight of men praying toward Mecca in the middle of the desert fascinated some and alarmed others. In 1888, the Cameleers helped establish one of Australia's earliest mosques at Marri in South Australia. Similar mosques later appeared across inland towns. Then came the railways and motor vehicles. By the early 20th century, trucks and trains began replacing camel transport. The Cameleers' livelihoods disappeared almost overnight. Many returned home, but others remained and built families in Australia. Thousands of camels were released into the wild when they were no longer needed. Those animals adapted so successfully that Australia now has the largest population of wild camels on Earth. Today, traces of the Cameleers remain scattered across the Outback. Historic mosques still stand in towns such as Marri and Broken Hill. Family names descended from the Cameleers can be found throughout Australia. Camel tracks, old wells, and forgotten settlements still mark routes that once connected isolated communities to the outside world. Their story reminds us that some of Australia's greatest achievements were built by people whose contributions were almost forgotten. The next time you look across Australia's vast red interior, imagine the distant sound of camel bells drifting through the heat. Long before highways crossed the desert, it was the Cameleers who showed Australia how to reach its heart. If you enjoyed this story and would like to see more forgotten, unusual and fascinating chapters of Australian history, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. New videos are released regularly, exploring the places, people, and events that help shape Australia, often hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.